Alright, I got all these valve cover bolts taken off for the driver's side. I have my little gasket surface thing. It's like very soft on the end, that way you don't damage gasket surfaces. It's actually a scraper, but I used it to lift up the cover a little bit. Is that all the bolts? I don't know. I think so though. Ooh. Ooh, that's nasty. Yeah. My truck's been sitting a lot past 6 years. What am I caught on? Oh, just my vent. Alright. Alright, she's pretty dirty under there. Pretty nasty. It's been sitting. I mean, I put 200 miles on it in 2020. 2019, I probably put 1,000 miles on it in 2019. And I've only put 10,000 miles on it since I've owned it, and that's been since 2015. And before that, it sat a lot. But it is what it is. It's not too bad. The cams are actually pretty clean. The cam lobes anyway. All right, I got my gasket installed on the driver's side. So I'm about to install that. I'll have to add RTV on the cylinder head in these corners, and that's what the manual calls for. So I'm gonna get that installed. I'm not gonna record it because it's kind of boring and all that good stuff. But I did clean this for multiple days trying to get it spotless, and it turned out pretty dang good. All right, I got my driver's side valve cover gasket and valve cover installed. I'm going to sit here and think of what I got to do next. I still need a few more parts to be able to put the intake manifold back on, but you know, I'm probably about a quarter way done with the engine bay. Well, with maintenance in general probably, because I still got to do the trans and the rear diff. Okay, so today I'm going to be essentially finishing up draining this coolant. I've already got it started. I loosened up the petcock and it's draining out now. And I'm also going to be taking off my belt, so I'm about to do that now. Okay, so I'm going to take this belt off, and I'm going to use my breaker bar with a 14mm socket. It's this pulley right here, and I'm just going to turn it to the left. That's going to loosen the tension. I can pull that belt right off. Good off. What kind of belt is this? Does it say? Yeah, it's pretty old. I have no idea what brand it is. Hell, it could be original. It squeaked like a mofo though when I started it up. Yeah, I might have to replace that tensioner. Dang it. I'm tired of buying stuff. All these dang four-wheelers always need something. I'm in the middle of this truck. Just one after another. But anyway, that's good. I'm gonna let that radiator drain. I'm gonna go do some other stuff. But I'm glad I got that belt off. I'm gonna guess a 12. So I'm gonna take these thermostat bolts out. Alright, this one should work. Jeez. Should just be 3. It's gonna leak a little bit. Alright, this might require some force. Oh, never mind. Doink. Cool beans. Looks nice. This part might require some effort though. Getting this thermostat out. It's gonna be nice and sealed up. Oh. A little more than I thought. Got it. Oh yeah, it looks pristine still. Really does. And it still worked, but while I'm in here, I'm replacing it. It's worth doing. It's only 20 bucks. Okay, so I'm taking off my belt tensioner. The only thing that's holding it in is 3 12mm bolts. So I need to get that last one off. It's just sitting there. Get that bolt undone. Put it in my pocket with the other ones. Grab this thing, pull it out. That's the original one. Pulley just got some play in it. But I've ordered a brand new one, so that should be in very soon. The alternator is going to be a pain to get to when it's time to replace. All the other pulleys feel good, which is what's important. Okay, I got my new belt tensioner in. It was just as easy putting in than it was taking out. It's just 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3, one on the bottom. So I didn't want to record that because it's so easy. But I'm going to replace the thermostat next. I already got it pulled out. I'm going to clean that surface up and get that installed. Alright, I'm watching Born to Race while I work on the truck. Got my gasket surfaces cleaned. Alright, I'm going to get those bolts installed. Alrighty, I got that thermostat slid in there, got the bolts tightened up, so that's ready to go. I'm probably gonna call it a night here. It's like 11:30 p.m. and I've been working since 9 this morning, so I'm about done. But I'm gonna go make something to eat and probably finish this movie and go again tomorrow. Okay, so I got my other starter bolt off. What I have going on is a swivel attachment with a 14mm socket, and you can angle it just right. And then I put a breaker bar on it and put some pressure on it, and it finally budged. So I'm gonna get this removed. Oh yeah, we Gucci. Okay, wow. I've been working on trying to get that started out for a while. Not too much time, but I've definitely tried a few times. So, swivel. It's a swivel attachment, a 14mm socket, and you can probably get it. They're on there good. But now, I'm gonna take that off, and what am I gonna do next? I think I'm gonna clean up my intake ports, get all the grease and stuff out of there. I'll have to turn the engine over by hand. That way the valves are closed when I'm cleaning each port. That way the debris don't drop in the engine. And then before I turn it over, I'll spray it out with the air compressor and then move on to the next port. And then once those are cleaned, I'll install the starter, the new knock sensors in the new intake gaskets, and install the intake manifold. And once I do that, oh my God, I'm so close. Then I'll be able to do the fuel pump. Then I'll start prepping for paint. So we're in good shape. Redo this because the dust has taken over my words. Here we go, baby. Old starter out, new starter is about to go in. I'm getting all my wiring situated. So that's gonna be awesome. Let's see. I'm getting that gasket, no, it's actually not a gasket surface, but I'm getting the surface where the starter meets up to the block cleaned off. And then I'll install the new starter. And then I might do knock sensors, or I might go ahead and clean the intake ports. I still gotta do both of those regardless, so it doesn't really matter. Alrighty, I got my new starter installed, and I got it loomed up with this black and red heat resistant wire loom. I'm gonna pretty much do all the wires in this truck because rats chewed up pretty much a lot of the wires in this truck, so I'm gonna try to prevent that this time. But next step I'm gonna do, I'm I think I'm gonna install these knock sensors in the new knock sensor harness. I bought a factory one, wherever it is. Wherever it is, there it is. It's in this box. So I bought the new knock sensor wiring harness, which was $100. Yes, it's hard to spend $100 on a little piece like this, but sometimes you have to, because I'm not gonna buy a used one when, you know, like, they get brittle over time. This should last me another 20 years, so. But I'm gonna get those Delphi knock sensors installed, and then clean these intake ports. And after that, I'm 75% done with the engine bay, so that's exciting. I've been dreaming of driving this truck for the past like 2 months, and I really want to make it happen. So I'm grinding. Okay, I got my knock sensor surfaces cleaned. I just used a little wool pad, a steel wool pad that is. That really makes gasket surfaces pretty clean. I've been using that trick for a long time, and it seems to work, so I'm gonna keep doing it. But got this new knock sensor wiring harness in place, and now I just gotta put those knock sensors in, plug them up, and then that part's done. All right, I got my starter, my knock sensors, my new knock sensor wiring harness, and I got it all loomed up. Looks really good, and that's ready to go. So the next thing I'm gonna do is clean out my intake ports, and then I'll be able to install my intake manifold. But this looks really good. All right, so I'm getting my intake manifold gaskets installed. Actually, I'm about to take the old ones off, clean it all up, and then install them. But anyway, I just cleaned out my intake ports and the surfaces and retaped them. That way no debris gets in there. But once I get the intake manifold cleaned out and the new gaskets installed, I will be officially ready to install the intake manifold. Got all my wires, I got my starter installed, new knock sensors, knock sensor harness, and the wire loom, so that's all good to go. So I'm gonna work on this intake manifold, get it cleaned up, and I'll be ready to install that. Okay, I got some degreaser in there doing its work, so I'm just gonna get my pick here and pry them out. Boom. Gross. I'm gonna make sure to clean in there real good. I want that gasket to be perfectly clean when they get installed. Alright, all those are out. Got my new Felpros. They look pretty good. I've been impressed with Felpros so far, but I haven't got to run the engine yet, so we'll see if they hold up. Alright, so I'm going to start cleaning this. I'm going to do a few coats of degreaser on top of the few coats it already has. Okay, I got my intake manifold cleaned and the surface is clean, so I'm going to go ahead and install these intake manifold gaskets. Make sure all your gasket surfaces are cleaned. You definitely want those clean as possible. Make sure that little knobby is in that groove too on all of them. Freaking midnight, I'm still working out here. The grind is real. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed. I'm gonna verify my gaskets are all sealed. Make sure they're pressed in there nicely. I think I forgot to record me installing this intake manifold, but it's real easy. I took all my tape off, made sure my surfaces were cleaned, but once the new gaskets were installed, all I did was move this hose out of the way, grab this hose, and just ease it down in there. And once you get a few bolt holes lined up, it's pretty much good to go after that. So now I'm going to get these torqued down, and then I'll get the fuel injector connectors installed to the fuel injectors, and after that I could probably start getting all these wires mounted up where they go, and I'll be very close to getting this engine bay done. I just gotta do the fuel pump after this and fix some wires. Alright, I got all my bolts torqued down. I'm gonna go ahead and install this bolt that holds the transmission dipstick tube in. It's a 10mm. I actually installed it before I installed the intake manifold bolts, and it was preventing me from being able to move the manifold. So don't do that until afterwards. Alrighty, I am going to call it a day. It is, what time is it? 1:16 in the morning. I've been going all freaking day. Haven't stopped today. Let's see. I'll probably get that hose on. Get this. Yep, comes with that. Okay. Get this hose on. Alrighty, I'll just have to get those clamps put back on tomorrow. And those will be good to go. I think that goes to my brake booster. Yeah. I don't know if it goes above or below that line. So I'll have to look at my old reference pictures, but heck yeah, progress is made. I've been waiting to get to this spot. I got all the hard work done and getting those intake ports and getting the manifold cleaned out. Here's the order I tightened the intake manifold bolts. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get this throttle body installed. Alright, on this gasket, I took pictures before I took the original one off, and it is installed correctly. A little circle on the top left and a little circle on the bottom right. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this. It goes this way. I can get my bolts started out. Really need to move that out of my way, and that one. It's the throttle body cooling lines. I always make sure I get my bolts started in every hole before I tighten them up. That way everything's properly aligned and I won't have to go back and redo them. Alright, let me pop these lines back on here. Now I just gotta get hose clamps and get those tightened up. And I still got to do the ones from last night up here. So now I can start plugging stuff in. Need to evaluate everything, but all this stuff should be about ready to plug in. And then I'll get my belt installed, and then I'll be able to put my intake system back on. And what else is there? That'd be almost it for the engine. But after I'm done with the engine, I'm going to rebuild my fuel pump. So I'm going to get it taken out and rebuilt and get it back in there. And then I'll probably, after the fuel pump's in there, I got to fix some wires. So I'm going to fix my wires. After the wires are fixed, I'm probably going to prep this part for bed liner. I'll get it bed lined. That way I can install my bed and have everything mounted back up, and then it can be, then I can do body work and paint it. But I'd like to get it drivable so I can actually use it. I don't have to paint it yet. I just want to get it driving good. Alright, I got all my driver's side fuel injectors plugged in. Got my gas line plugged back in with the cover on. I got the throttle body connector plugged in. I'm about to, here we go, mount this bracket that holds the evap purge canister. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount the bracket back on, and then I actually have a replacement one of these I bought years ago. So I figured I'd go ahead and install it too. Okay, that's installed. Now I can unscrew these evap purge bolts. I might actually want to unhook these lines first. Oh, right on my cut. Oh yeah, that felt great. This line might need a little help. It's the original one, so it's been on there forever. Well, I thought I was recording, but I bought this one a few years ago, this evap purge valve, and I just never installed it. But it's actually the wrong one. It does not fit, so I put the original one back on. I installed my gas line, all my fuel injector connectors. I had them labeled with this blue tape, so it was really easy for me to figure out where they go. And then I got the connector for the evap purge canister installed. I got to put the hose clamps back on, but I can't believe I didn't record that. But pretty much I'm almost done with the engine bay. Got to get my belt on. Once my belt's on, I can do the intake. When the intake's done, I can, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. I gotta figure out what this goes to. There's a connector somewhere that I'm missing. I think that's my mass airflow. Let's see if my truck will start. I'll list everything I've replaced after this clip. Please starter work. Okay. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Snapchat. I post this kind of stuff on my Snapchat daily. Small clips of me working on stuff, riding, whatever it is. I'll see you in the next one, and peace.